Welcome to Syntax Layer channel. Today we are going to learn an important concept known as lifting the status. Okay, let's start. So we have learned the concept of props already. So we know what props are, their short properties, and okay, let's take an example. So this is a prop that we're creating. Okay, and let's say if you want to pass it to some component, so we create a component, we create a component. Okay, so what's the behavior of props basically? The behavior of props is that you can pass data between components, but generally it's done from parent component to children component. So here, that's you can define types in another way as well. Instead of defining there, you can directly define the line right over here. And for now, okay, fine. And okay, so we got another is the capital M should be smaller. So what are we doing? Basically, we have done props, right? So basically, in props, what are we doing? We have a parent component, and inside the parent component, we have something value, and we are passing it into the child component. And child component is basically using it from props and returning that message. Now let's see how this message looks like. Let's rerun it again. Okay, so we can see hello world is getting displayed. Perfect. Now, the issue here is that this is how props work. Okay, so if you are generally making data calls from parent to children, this is fine. But let's say, let's create another component. Let's create an items.tsx component. Here is, let's say, it's a most sold item, which is apples. Okay, so let's say we are selling apples more and more, and we think we need to show that. We'll set a small message here. Okay, let's say if you want to display this component, what is the component we call items.tsx. I'm very bad in naming, but forgive me for that. Let's say now we're gonna see there's no most sold item apples. This is absolutely fine, but there's no issue here. The issue here is there's no issue here. We have created a prop and we are using it inside that prop. So it's not even called a prop because we are not passing it. We have created a variable and we are using it. But now the issue comes. Let's say I want to use this apples component in my message component. I want to display that message in my message component as well. Or else if I want to move this message completely from Apple to my message component, how can I do that? If you look at the tree structure here, both message and items are at the same level. So if they are at parent-children relation, you can directly pass props to them and that's fine. But both are siblings here and both are of the same level. So how can you pass the props here? So this is where the problem comes, and this is where we have a approach known as lifting the data. So this concept comes in situations where you have siblings that require data to be passed. And so in that case, what we need to do is that generally, if there's a sibling that requires another sibling's data, we generally move the sibling's data to the parent component. By that, we can pass the parent data in the form of wraps. So let's say what I mean by let's say you have a message all over here. Instead of having messages all over, we replace with the message. Let's say we move this one to, okay, and inside these items, we're gonna remove this one. Uh, okay. Uh, okay. So we don't need it here again since we moved it to the parent company. Okay, let's analyze what we did right now. Initially, there was a variable in items.tsx file. We removed that variable and we moved it to the parent component. We moved it to the parent component. So by doing that, we are doing the lifting the state up. So we lifted the state from children component to parent component. So we moved the state which is present in items component. We have moved it to the parent component. And from parent component, we are normally passing it as a prop to message component. Message component directly displaying that. Okay. Now let's see if it works. Perfect. It works like a charm. There's nothing here. So the only thing that we need to remember is that whenever you're working with children and there is some data that's needs to be, it's always a good idea to lift the data to the parent component like we are doing it with app.tsx. Okay. So here we have moved this items.tsx value to the app.tsx. So that's why we are able to use it in message.tsx. Okay, guys. Yeah, that's it for this video. We'll